Now this is the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. It looks like some kind of crazy YouTube or Instagram project, but actually it's Lamborghini's official swan song, not just to the Huracan, but non-hybridized Lamborghinis generally. It's probably easiest to think of it as a kind of Evo all-wheel drive Huracan that's been jacked up and given the Audi all-wheel drive treatment. That's basically what it is. And in fact, the name Sterrato translates as dirt road in Italian. They're going to make 1,499 of these cars, £232,000 each, but they're all already sold out. So today we're pretty lucky to be driving it at Chuck Waller Raceway, Palm Springs, California. We've got the sealed surface racetrack and also the dirt side of the track as well. We've got a rally stage cut into the desert landscape here. So if you think modern supercar grip limits are too high, just wait till you get a load of this.
Making a Huracan work off-road isn't just a case of jacking it up in the air, although that is part of it. The suspension is raised 44mm and its wheel tracks widened by 30mm at the front, 34 at the rear. The wheels are 19 inches and wrapped in Bridgestone Jeweler tyres that are a bespoke compound for Lamborghini. They're covered by carbon fibre wheel arches. You also get aluminium protective cladding and reinforced sills and rear diffuser. Weight rises to a claimed 1,470 kilos dry. That's 48 kilos more than an Evo all-wheel drive. Inside you also get new Alcantara trim and a new set of digital graphics, including a compass, presumably to help you find your way back to civilization after a day drifting across the desert.
Now what I really like with this car as well is we've got the 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10. It's got 602 brake horsepower and 413 pound-foot of torque. Now that makes me think, or it did make me think, that it was basically the Evo rear-wheel drive engine, but it's not. It's the STO engine, the top spec engine, and it's detuned a bit because it's got the roof snorkel on the top, and that just affects the way it ingests air and makes its power. It's also an absolutely amazing engine for drifting on dirt as it happens because it's naturally aspirated. It's got a real reach. The rev range goes up to 8.6, I think it is there. So when you're spinning the tyres on dirt, it just sounds absolutely amazing. Absolutely bashing through these bumps here. Suspension's doing really well, and wow, it's just a proper off-road car that you can, like a rally car on a stage here. I've got my co-driver alongside me giving me some useful advice because I've never been here. He's doing very well and he's coached me through it. But yeah, what a thing. I just have to make sure I don't get too excited here because it's sliding around so much. A bit too fast there, so I need to keep it going, get the steering straight. Just got away with that, I think. Little flick here. Almost into the cones. I think I got away with that as well. Brake here. Wow, what a thing it is, so much fun. We've also still got some stability control on, so trying to be smooth while using the weight and the power to move the car around, but I can't do too much otherwise it cuts in, so I'm just trying to be in the window here to get it working properly. Get on the throttle quite early, and then you just have to try and make sure it doesn't understeer. Woof. Stopping. Yeah.
Super. Yeah.
So out on the road now, away from Chuck Waller Raceway, driving through this beautiful landscape in the Joshua Tree National Park, and just this landscape is absolutely incredible. It's just such a privilege to be able to drive this thing through here actually. So the feeling generally with this car is it's just got quite a mellow sort of feel on the road actually. This car is absolutely perfect for here, but Also, I know it's a kind of alien landscape for the UK, but I can see how it would work really well. It feels kind of very settled in itself, and it feels like if you transferred this to the UK, you know, with potholes and maybe, you know, be worried about bashing a regular Lamborghini on curbs, it just gives you a bit of extra peace of mind to be able to use it, because it's just more user-friendly and more usable day to day. The road's got loads of kind of long frequency bumps, so lots of dips in and out. That's really testing the primary ride of this suspension. So it's got a really kind of compliant feel, rides really nicely on the road. The other thing that's interesting is the steering, because I thought, you know, with these kind of off-road focused tyres, you'd get quite a lot of mush in the steering. It just wouldn't turn in as sharply, and you know, of course it's not as sharp as something like a Huracan STO or Technica or something like that, but it is still quite pinpoint accurate, and as you kind of flick it left and right, it changes direction really nicely. You got some body roll with it, but it's nicely measured, nicely gathered up, so it works really well up here actually. Put it into sport now and just have a feel. Very much a Lamborghini still. Quite a tight corner there, and it's soaked that up really nice. It really gathered up that body roll again. I think we can tell, like on track, that it does like to sort of yaw and roll and slide, but it's not something that feels like it unravels here. It's still very, very together. And it'll be really nice in the UK as well on those kind of country roads where maybe if you meet someone coming the other way and you need to dip a wheel off onto the verge and things like that, you just know that it'll soak that up and deal with it as well. So the more you kind of dig into this car and think about how people use cars and what is better for them, you know, maybe a Nürburgring lap record time is all very well for selling cars, but actually on the flip side, this is probably better suited to how people use them. I love it. I was quite cynical about this car at first. I just thought it was kind of pointless, but you can really see how it makes sense. I was also talking to the tech boss, Reuven Moore, before, and I thought this engine, because it's got the same outputs as the rear-wheel drive V10, 602 brake horsepower, 413 pound-foot of torque, it's more advanced, more technically kind of, you know, the cylinder head has got significant changes to it to get it to STO spec. And actually the difference is in the roof scoop here, the way it ingests air and feeds that into the combustion chamber. That is the difference that detunes this engine. It sounds brilliant though. I think there'll be loads of road noise from these tyres as well, with them being the sort of off-road tread. That's really well contained, rides nicely, engine's really tuneful but not over the top. So as a long distance car as well, I think it works really well. It's like being in the movie Vanishing Point, if you ever seen that out here. You know, you just see cars on the horizon. It's kind of heat haze, and then a truck or a car will appear almost rising out of the surface. Big dip. No problem at all. I mean, it's just so cool that you can drive on pretty gnarly roads and just not worry about scuffing the front splitter, not worry about bottoming out the suspension.
Now, the nagging doubt here is that as much as I'm a kid in a sweet shop with everything that Lamborghini has laid on for us, is that the Sterrato is a bit pointless. I mean, it looks cool in that sort of Instagram way, but who's going to do what we've just done? But here's the thing, how many people set a Nürburgring lap time in a Aventador SVJ, and who actually goes off-road in an Urus? People just like what those cars represent, and there's nothing wrong with that. In some ways, the Sterrato is no different. Plus, this car is more user-friendly on the road for cruising about than other Huracans. You're not quite so worried about potholes or scuffing the nose on curbs. And you can guarantee that a handful of very wealthy people will use the Sterrato just like we've done. It's now 4 years since we saw this car, and it still feels a slightly unorthodox way for the Huracan to go out. but it looks fantastic. It's probably better suited to regular use than other Huracans, and if you do buy one and happen to have a rallycross circuit all to yourself, then, well, it's absolutely sensational.